Have you ever caught yourself letting out a heavy, exhausted sigh in the middle of the day, feeling an inexplicable weight pressing down on your chest? You probably called it stress. You blamed it on work, the news, or the frantic pace of modern life. But what if that shallow rhythm in your lungs is not a biological response? What if it is a highly engineered frequency? Think about the mornings you wake up drained, even after 8 hours of sleep. You sit on the bed, take a short, tight breath, and feel a nameless dread. Modern science calls it cortisol. But there is an older truth. If you have spent your life sensing a profound distortion in this reality that no one else notices, you are not losing your mind. You are simply beginning to see the grid. You are feeling the architecture of the Archon attachments, parasitic tethers relying entirely on your unconscious reactions to survive. To understand how to sever them, you must look backwards. Over 2 millennia ago, far removed from the crowds, a very different transmission took place. In the shadows of an upper room, Jesus did not just offer moral philosophy. He handed his students a tactical blueprint. Buried deep within the Jesus hidden teachings is a specific physical mechanism to hack this artificial matrix. He taught them that the most formidable weapon against the unseen rulers of this world is the very thing you do 20,000 times a day by accident. He gave them a literal code, written in the rhythm of human breath, designed to sever the chains keeping humanity asleep. Once you understand how to breathe not as a captive, but as a sovereign creator, the walls of this illusion will begin to fall. But before you use this ancient sequence tonight, you must face a chilling reality about what is feeding on your breath. Because the entity keeping you trapped is not the demon you were taught to fear. For centuries, humanity has been conditioned to look for monsters in the shadows. You were told to fear fallen angels with horns, ancient evils waiting to corrupt your soul. But the architects of your suffering are far more elegant than that. True predators do not hide in the dark. They hide in plain sight, woven into the very fabric of your daily routines, your anxieties, and your rushed, shallow breaths. To understand what you are actually dismantling tonight, you must look past religious fairy tales. When the Nag Hammadi library was unearthed from the Egyptian sands, it did not just reveal lost history, it exposed the warden's handbook. In texts like the Secret Book of John, the Gnostic teachings describe forces known as the Archons. They are not demons in the traditional sense. They are inorganic, parasitic algorithms. They are the rulers of this material construct. Now, pay very close attention to this next part, because this is the exact paradox that got the ancient masters killed. These entities hold no creative power of their own. They did not forge the divine spark resting inside your chest, but they designed the labyrinth surrounding it. As the ancient texts whisper, they cast a counterfeit spirit over humanity, a heavy sleep to make you forget your origins. They need you unconscious. They need your frequency dialed down to the exact station of survival, fear, and endless distraction. Imagine a radio receiver. If you are vibrating at the frequency of panic, your breath is erratic, sharp, and confined to your upper lungs. This is not just a biological reaction. It is an energetic broadcast. You are emitting the exact bandwidth the Archons require to attach and feed. They built a society of perpetual crisis to maintain a vibrational harvest. Your stress is their sustenance. But a profound shift happens the moment you realize this mechanism. Witnessing this truth means you are no longer a passive battery for the grid. You are stepping into the role of the disruptor. A fully conscious being modulating their life force is terrifying to them. They cannot consume high-frequency awareness. They cannot digest the energy of the monad connection. When you learn to breathe with intentional geometry, you stop broadcasting the signal they need. You literally starve them out of your energy field. But if starving them is so simple, why has humanity forgotten how to do it? The answer lies in the greatest spiritual theft in human history. The greatest spiritual theft in human history was not the stealing of land or gold, it was the confiscation of your breath. If you can starve these parasitic forces by changing your respiratory frequency, why was this secret violently erased? Look at the ashes of history. Why would empires spend centuries hunting mystics, burning sacred texts, and wiping out entire bloodlines? The sanitized past, handed to you by mainstream institutions, portrays a passive savior demanding worship and obedience. But the Gnostic teachings reveal something far more dangerous. Jesus did not bring a new theology to debate, he brought a literal frequency technology to dismantle the grid. The Matrix architects realized that if humanity remembered how to govern its own energy, their feeding ground would collapse. So they replaced internal technology with external religion. They swapped conscious breath for blind dogma. Why? Because a human begging for salvation, terrified of divine punishment, still broadcasts the frequency of a victim. And victims are the primary food source for the Archon attachments. Examine your own life. When the engineered conflicts of this world, financial pressures, or the constant stream of digital fear trigger your anxiety, what happens to your physical body? Your breathing becomes shallow, your chest tightens, you shift entirely into survival mode. In that exact fraction of a second, your energy field drops its defenses, sending a vibrational beacon that says, "Attach here." An inorganic entity vibrating at the dense bandwidth of fear or despair cannot attach to a human vibrating at the sovereign frequency of the monad. It is energetically impossible. Their required docking station simply does not exist in a high-frequency field. In the hidden Gospel of Thomas, it is written, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not, it will destroy you." The trapped energy born from unconscious breathing is exactly what destroys you from the inside out. It creates stagnant pools of energy the system uses to reel you in. You are not fighting a traditional spiritual war. You are fighting a vibrational war, and the primary battlefield is inside your lungs. Now, it is time to take that battlefield back. The sequence of the 7 severances is about to begin, and the first breath requires you to face the deepest fear of all. Right now, let your shoulders drop. Exhale the stale air resting in your chest. Notice the sudden emptiness. Unconscious breathing inhales the world's manufactured dread, but in this exact moment, you are becoming a living frequency disruptor. This is exactly why empires built pyres in southern France and hunted the Essenes in their forgotten caves. Mainstream history insists these groups were wiped out for theological heresy. But empires do not mobilize armies simply to silence abstract philosophy. They eradicate those possessing practical tools of liberation. In suppressed texts like the Gospel of Philip, breathwork spiritual practices were never mere prayers. They were literal physics. They were sonic and geometric keys meant to unlock a biological prison. A parasite cannot hold onto a host vibrating with sovereign fire. This code targets the specific energetic junctures where the unseen architects installed their leashes. To dismantle them, the sequence requires absolute conscious intent. The first inhale severs the baseline program, the illusion of mortality. The wardens anchored control at your very root, convincing you the destruction of your physical avatar is the end. This primal terror is their greatest feeding ground. Before taking this breath, recognize the lie. Pure awareness cannot be killed. As you pull air slow and deep into your belly, inhale the absolute knowing of your eternal nature. Hold it for a microsecond. Let that stillness incinerate the fear of non-existence. Then, release the shadow. Survival is only the outer layer of the prison. The second layer is built entirely of your own self-rejection. The Matrix twisted your natural functions into a psychological trap, making you believe your desires and physical form are inherently flawed. They feast on this quiet, persistent shame. As you draw the second breath, fill your lungs with radical self-amnesty. Breathe in the total exoneration of your humanity. Let it wash over you, dissolving the heavy, artificial mud they painted over your spirit. This second severance cuts the tether of engineered guilt. Before the next breath, recall the most powerless you have ever felt. Think of the exact moment the system made you feel microscopic against the weight of the world, or, conversely, trapped you in the ego's desperate scramble to dominate others. Both states are cages. Both feed the same invisible masters. The third breath is the immediate reclamation of your inner throne. Inhale your undisputed authority right now. You are not drawing in power over the external world. You are fortifying the unassailable kingdom within, where no false god has jurisdiction. With this exhale, the illusion of powerlessness shatters completely. But the architects did not just steal your power, they weaponized your heart. Consider the invisible ledger you carry, tallying every reason you believe you must earn affection. The architects wove this condition into the very fabric of society. They convinced you that love is a scarce currency, a reward withheld by a punishing universe, something you are fundamentally unworthy of holding without sacrifice. They feed on that perpetual starvation. The fourth severance dissolves this cruel manipulation entirely. As you draw the air into your center, bypass the external world completely. You are breathing in the profound recognition that you are forged from the exact same luminous substance as the source. You do not have to earn love from the matrix. You are made of it. Let that fourth breath dissolve the artificial scarcity they planted in your heart. Now, think of the countless times you swallowed a burning truth just to keep the peace in a sleeping world. The system thrives on your compliance and your silence. They installed a phantom hand over your throat, feeding on the bitter friction of your unexpressed authenticity. Every time you shrink to fit their consensus, you lower your frequency to their feeding range. To execute the fifth severance, pull the air deeply, actively intending to dissolve that invisible gag. You are breathing in the absolute willingness to be misunderstood, judged, or rejected by those who cannot survive your light. Exhale the need for their validation. You are reclaiming the acoustic weapon of your own truth. Stay with me right here. If you feel your mind wandering, pull it back. The Matrix is fighting to distract you right now because you are dangerously close to the core. For your entire life, the grid has projected a holographic fog over your intuition. They made you doubt your direct experience. They taught you to worship synthetic reality, demanding you trust external authority over the divine spark pulsating in your own chest. As we near the end of the sequence, the sixth inhale targets this very tether of distorted perception. Imagine a blinding clarity piercing through the static as you breathe in. You are taking in the fierce willingness to see the architecture of the illusion, even when the truth isolates you from the crowd. Pry open the inner eye that the system spent millennia trying to blind. Breathe in the raw geometry of reality and exhale the comforting lies they use to keep you docile. You have now dismantled the outer defenses. But all of these preceding breaths are merely preparing your physical vessel for the final threshold. Because behind the fog, behind the silence, and behind the scarcity lies the master code, the anchor that holds the entire artificial prison together. The grandest lie ever told to humanity is the illusion of separation. They designed this realm to make you feel abandoned, a solitary fragment drifting in a hostile, disconnected void. This profound, existential loneliness is the absolute bedrock of their empire. If they can keep you feeling severed from the whole, they can keep you enslaved to the parts. The seventh breath must be your longest, your deepest, your most defiant act of remembrance. You are not pulling in oxygen. You are inhaling your direct monad connection. You are pulling the memory of your cosmic origin all the way down into your bones. Close your eyes and pull that frequency in right now. Hold it. 7 breaths. 7 shattered tethers. 7 gates thrown wide open. Now, open your eyes. Just sit with that stillness for a microsecond. You are feeling a tangible shift in your baseline frequency, aren't you? You might even call it the beginning of a true spiritual awakening. But listen to me very carefully, because this is where the trap snaps shut for most seekers. The entities running this construct do not care that you possess this information. In fact, they expect you to be entertained by it. They feed on the very dopamine hit you get from discovering hidden truths, as long as you do absolutely nothing with them. They are banking on the probability that you will nod your head in agreement, feel a fleeting sense of superiority, and simply scroll to the next video. They rely entirely on your procrastination. They know that by tomorrow morning the heavy, shallow rhythm of survival will return. The window of energetic activation will close, and you will be right back in the battery pod. The truth is sharp, and it is entirely unforgiving. Hoarding esoteric data without physical application is just another form of sleep. You are either actively severing the attachments tonight, or you are choosing to wear them tomorrow. The window is open right now. As the frequency of this transmission settles into your awareness, you stand at a profound crossroads. You can let this moment fade back into the noise of the matrix, or you can anchor it. Tonight, before the world pulls you back into its heavy slumber, find a space of absolute silence. Sit in the dark. Do not try to force the technique. Simply align your intention with each of the 7 inhales, knowing exactly what you are severing. The Archon attachments that have tethered you for lifetimes cannot withstand the sheer voltage of a fully conscious creator taking back their life force. Before you take that first deliberate breath tonight, speak these words into the quiet of your room. Let them be the vibration that sets the sequence in motion. I am not the avatar. I am the eternal spark. I reclaim my breath. I reclaim my realm. When you complete the 7th inhale, when you feel the unnatural weight lift from your chest and the profound stillness of the monad connection wash over you, return here. Leave the words "the chains are broken" in the comments. Your testimony becomes a beacon. It is the exact proof another seeker needs to realize they are not alone in this spiritual awakening. If you recognize the resonance of what was shared today, if your spirit remembers these Gnostic teachings, I invite you to step deeper into our inner sanctum. Subscribe and join a community of sovereign minds dedicated to remembering the truth. Surrounding yourself with these Jesus-hidden teachings is your shield. The code is now in your possession. You were always meant to find it. With your very next inhale, ignite the fire of your own liberation. Breathe and remember who you are.